Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Dental Assisting Council meeting. My name is Deandra Epps Robbins, and I am the chair of the Dental Assisting Council. Today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025. This this Dental Assisting Council meeting is being held in person with additional public participation through WebEx. For all those who wish to participate online, please log on to the WebEx website provided on the posted agenda for this meeting. Instructions to connect to the meeting are provided on the agenda. The preferred audio connection is via telephone and not the microphone and speakers on your computer. The phone number and access code will be provided as part of your connection to the meeting. During each call for comments from the Dental Assisting Council, members and speakers, we will ensure that all comments that can be accommodated are heard before proceeding with the agenda. This is an official meeting of the Dental Assisting Council. The council welcomes public comments on any items on the agenda, and it is the council's intent to ask for public comments for the prior council taking action on any agenda item. The DCA moderator will explain the process for providing public comment shortly. For individuals participating via WebEx, when called upon, the moderator will give the individual permission to unmute themselves, and they will have 2 minutes to make public comment. The moderator will audibly announce when 30 seconds remain to conclude the public comment. After 2 minutes have lapsed, the individuals will be placed back on mute. Only one comment per agenda item is allowed per attendee. Depending on the number of people who would like to testify on a particular agenda item, the total time limit may be imposed. We ask that all speakers to please stay on topic and not repeat testimony already provided. If you agree with this testimony already provided, please just state your name and that you are in support of any comments previously provided. I would like to ask the DCA moderator to please explain how public comments will be taken during this meeting.
Thank you. This is the moderator. For purposes of today's meeting, when the council chair opens public comment, members of the public who'd like to provide public comment at our DCA location in Sacramento can approach the table and microphone at the front of the room. For those joined via WebEx, when the council opens for public comment, I will announce that the comment period is open. Members of the public will then be able to click on the hand icon to raise their hands. Instructions will also be on screen. Call-in users will need to press *3 to raise their hands. You'll have 2 minutes to provide your public comment with a 30-second warning before your time is up. Instructions to connect to the meeting are linked on page 1 of the meeting agenda. If you're experiencing audio issues and are using a computer or mobile device, follow the call-in instructions on page 2 of the instructions to connect to the meeting to use your phone as your speaker. While you are free to express criticism or negative views, for the sake of the members of the public participating on the call, please do not use profane language when making comments to the council. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Thank you.
Thank you. Board staff, please call the roll.
Good morning. My name is Morella Turan. I will now call the roll. Epps Robbins,
Epps Rosen, present.
Fowler,
Fowler present.
Gerlach,
Gerlach present.
Loren, Miyazaki,
Miyazaki present.
Alagi,
Alagi present.
Smith.
Smith present.
Quorum has been established.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 2, public comment on any items not on the agenda. Before we open public comment on the matters not on the agenda, I would like to remind everyone that public comment should address the council as a whole and not individual members. Please be aware that public comment during the agenda item should provide information to the council members, but is not a discussion between the council members and the public. The only action council members can take right now is to listen to comments and decide whether they would want a future agenda on the item, on the topic. This may seem at times like the council's members are not being responsive. Following the guidelines is critical to ensure the rules of Open Meeting Act are followed to avoid compromising the speaker's goals and the council's mission. In the interest of time, as we have done in the past, we would like to request that public comments not repeat statements made by prior commentator. If you are in support of a statement made by a prior individual, your comments have already been made. Please just state your name or association and your support for the previous commentator. Legislative hearings regularly use this practice and is a good way to ensure that we can hear from everyone today. Are there any in-person public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator?
Yes, this is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment on an item that is not already on the agenda, you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. Typically, this is at the bottom of your WebEx screen. If you're on a mobile device, you may find that behind the three-dot other options, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments for items not on the agenda? I do not see any hand raises. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any council member discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 3, discussion and possible action on May 14th, 2025 meeting minutes. Is there any council member discussion? Is there a motion and a second? Please state your name and motion or second.
I make a motion, this Letty, and I make a motion to approve the minutes. May.
And I second, Fowler.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any public comment? Any in-person public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating WebEx?
This is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment on the motion or the minutes, you may look for the hand icon and click that, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Any comments on the motion or the minutes? I do not see any hand raises. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you.
You're
Board staff, please call the roll and record votes for this agenda item.
This is Morella Turan. I will now call the roll. Epps Robbins,
Brazen, aye.
Fowler,
Fowler, aye.
Gerlach,
Gerlach, aye.
Loren,
Lorraine, aye.
Miyazaki,
Miyazaki, aye.
Alagi,
Alagi, aye.
Smith.
Smith, aye.
The motion passed.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 4, Interim Executive Officer's Report. I am going to ask Christy Bell, Interim Executive Officer, to present this item agenda.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Christy Bell, the Interim Executive Officer. Before we jump into updates, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the great work that the Dental Board staff has been doing. We just went through graduation season and all applications stayed within a 30-day processing timeframe. They truly keep things running smoothly and have been amazing to work with. Okay, so update at the May meeting, I had reported that there was a return to office order that was set to go into effect July 1st, 2025. The requirement was for board staff to return to the office 4 days a week. That order has been delayed to July 1st, 2026. Staff are continuing their current telework schedules. The board currently has 5 vacant positions that we are actively recruiting to fill. And as discussed at previous meetings, the board is currently undergoing the process to prepare for a new strategic plan. The external stakeholder survey closed on June 23rd, 2025, with a total of 996 responses. Board members and DBC management were interviewed, and a survey went out to all staff. All these responses were totaled to 56. Kudos to all the board members for responding. Solid is currently drafting the environmental scan, which consists of summaries of everyone's responses to the questions. The board members should expect to receive this report mid-October before the November 5th, 2025 strategic planning session. In September, Solid will work with dental board management in a pre-strategic planning session to review the environmental scan and do some of the pre-work before the November board meeting. As board staff have been working, we have identified some issues that require clarification. 2 working groups are going to be created, and the council chair will assign the members. 1 working group will review the statutes and regulations related to the duties of the registered dental assistants. And the other working group will review the RDA EF statutes. Please reach out to the chair or myself if you are interested. And that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any in-person comments? Backwards. Is there any council member discussion? Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. This is the moderator. If anyone has any comment on the interim executive officer report, you can look for the hand icon, typically at the bottom of your WebEx screen, or from a mobile device. It may be behind the 3-dot other options button. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hands. Are there any comments on the report? I do not see any raised hands. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you.
You're
We
welcome.
will now move on to agenda item number 5, update on dental assisting examination statistics. I'm going to ask Tina Valerie, Chief of License and Program Compliance and Dental Assisting, to present the agenda item.
Good morning. My name is Tina Valerie. I'm the Chief of Dental Assisting and License and Program Compliance. Agenda item 5 begins on page 25 of your meeting materials and provides the examination statistics for the registered dental assistant combined written and law and ethics examination, the registered dental assistant in extended functions written exam, the orthodontic assistant written examination, and the dental sedation written examination for fiscal year 2024 and 2025, along with the prior 3 fiscal years. I also wanted to point out that we have included some new information in this memo in response to a request by Dr. Loren at the last Dental Assistant Council meeting. Dr. Loren requested to see the number of RDA applications we receive by available pathway. We have provided the responsive data on page 27 of your meeting materials, and it shows the number of applications received each year through the education, work experience, and mixed education and experience pathways in the years 2020 through 2024. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is there any council member discussion? Dr. Loren?
Good morning, Ms. Valerie. Thank you so much for bringing that information. It's very helpful. Now, the next step would be to find out what is the pass rate for each one of these for the RDA exam on each of these pathways. If you haven't, that would be really good information also. But thank you so much for doing this. Very useful.
Are there any in-person public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. This is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment on the statistics report, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments on the statistic report? I do not see any raised hands. I'm turning the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will now move on to. Did you have a
Sorry, I
comment?
did want to just respond because it took me a second to catch up in my mind, but we do have the statistics by pathway on our website. So we typically post all of, well, at least for each quarter, each school that had students test, and then also work experience and the mixed education pathway. So we do have those posted on our website.
Thank you. Where would we look that up?
So it's on the educators tab, and I think it's down lower on the screen, but it'll say examination statistics, and then it
Oh.
has them by month.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 6, update on dental assisting licensing statistics. I'm going to ask again, Ms. Valerie, to present this agenda item.
Hello again. Agenda item 6 begins on page 28 and goes through page 38 of your meeting materials. This memo provides an overview of the licensing statistics for the dental assisting unit. The tables and charts within this memo indicate the applications received, approved, abandoned, and denied, as well as the number of licenses issued by month and the number of active, inactive, delinquent, and canceled licenses. You will also find information about the number of current and active RDAs by county and the population. The statistics provided are for fiscal years 2024, 2025, and the prior 3 fiscal years. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Miyazaki, just wanted to ask a question. What's the normal turnaround rate for the applications once they're received? And I understand maybe in May and June, it might be a little longer because you receive so many.
So currently, I am so proud to say that all of my staff process applications within 24 to 48 hours. So we do have cashiering time, which typically I'll just say is about a week. And then once it goes to the analyst for processing, it's typically within 24 to 48 hours that they're processed.
Thank you. That's really valuable. And it's really interesting to know that goes to the cashier first, because the students always look to see if their checks got cashed first. And then we had to explain that's first, then the review of the applications after that.
Yes.
I think that's important for educators to know that too.
Are there any council member discussions, further discussion? Are there any in-person public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. If anyone would like to make a comment on the licensing statistics, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments on the licensing statistics report? I do not see any raised hands. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will now move on to agenda item number 7. Update and discussion on registered dental assisting and registered dental assisting in extended functions, educational programs and courses applications, approvals and re-evaluations.
Good morning again. I will be presenting agenda item 7, which begins on page 39 of your meeting materials and provides an overview of the dental assisting educational courses that have been approved and denied, along with those that are deficient and pending. You will also find information on the number of site visits conducted for the fiscal year 2024 and 2025 and the prior 3 fiscal years. On pages 41 and 42, you will find a list of programs and courses approved by name and type for fiscal year 2024-2025, along with the total number of approved dental assisting educational programs and courses by type that are in active status. Beginning on page 43 of your meeting materials, we have provided information regarding the reevaluations we have conducted in fiscal year 2024-2025. The reevaluations we have conducted have been initiated based on 2 scenarios. Either they were a standard evaluation based on the board's mandate to conduct reevaluations every 7 years, or they were initiated based on a complaint received. The table displays the reevaluation results by reevaluation type and the type of program. We are continuing to see a high number of failed reevaluations, which have resulted in withdrawals of approval. This is due to a variety of reasons, including program and course providers not responding to the reevaluation notices, insufficient clinical instruction hours, incorrect sequence of instruction, incomplete and insufficient evaluation forms, and insufficient student records. As mentioned at the last Dental Assisting Council meeting, board staff believe this is a concerning statistic and will continue to follow and report on this at future meetings. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is there any council member discussion? Are there any in-person public comments? Are there any? Oh, perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sherry Becker, representing the California Association of Dental Assisting Teachers. Question regarding on the withdrawals, that I see the number of withdrawals here really high, as the reason is a failure to meet the timing for their reevaluation and application. So kind of 2 things is if those programs that withdrew because of a timing issue, should perhaps the timing be reassessed or looked at for turnaround time to be maybe a little more gracious to those programs? And then with the statistics of the approvals withdrawn, especially for the Pitt & Fisher sealants being so high with a total of 44, I'm just wondering if they withdrew their application, did they then want to turn around and did they need to reapply as like a new provider for those courses?
I can actually answer those fairly easily. So regarding the timeframes, we give a standard amount of time for response, but anybody who has requested an extension, as long as it's for a legitimate reason, we have granted extensions. So any providers who have reached out and said, hey, we need some more time, we've given them that time. I haven't, any that have been withdrawn, we've heard nothing from them. So just to comment on that. And then regarding the Pitt & Fisher, if they were withdrawn and they were interested in reapplying, they definitely can do that. So some have not.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you. So what is the timeline like on the extension? How many days or how many is it? Do you have a timeline for it?
We
How
do
many
not.
days are granted?
It's what they request. And like I said, as long as it's a reasonable request that they've made, then there hasn't been a time that I haven't granted an extension. I may have not granted the time they ask. Some will ask for like 6 extra months, which is not reasonable. So we do still give them an extension, but it just depends on what they're asking and what the hurdles are that they're facing. But like I said, as long as it's a reasonable request, we've granted them.
So is this like a resubmission process? And if so, if they were to resubmit, how many times could they kind of go back and forth with you on this issue to get their programs up to par in order to pass this portion of not being withdrawn?
So they have 2 opportunities to respond.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Certainly, if anyone would like to make a comment on the discussion, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And our calling users may press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments on this agenda item 7? I do not see any raised hands. I turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 8. Update and discussion on legislative proposal to amend Business and Professional Code, BPC, Sections 1741, 1750, 1750.2, 1750.4, 1750.1, 1750.6, 1753, 1753.51, 1754.5, 1755, and 1777, and add sections 1752.1, 1754.5, 1755, and 1778, related to board approval of dental assisting educational programs and courses. I'm going to ask the Dental Assisting Regulations Working Group group consisting of council members Jerry Fowler and Kara Miyazaki to present this agenda item.
Fowler here. I'd like to give a summary of this agenda item. So CODA is the accrediting body that regulates DDS and hygiene programs. The Dental Practice Act currently does not require DA programs to be accredited by CODA for various reasons stated in the May 14th, 2025 DAC meeting, with high cost of CODA accreditation being the primary obstacle. So the DBC has traditionally reviewed, approved, and audited DA programs and courses. At the May 14th, 2025 DAC meeting, board staff identified significant non-compliance issues in the majority of courses undergoing audits. In addition, the review, audit, and approval processes are highly time and labor intensive for board staff, resulting in significant increased costs for providers submitting new courses or programs for approval. On February 19th, 2025, Assembly Bill AB 873 was introduced and would make revisions to various DA statutes relating to course requirements. At the February 16th and 17th, 2025 board meeting, the board approved amendments to BPC sections 1725, the dental assisting fees, 1753.52, ITR and radiographic decision-making course requirements, and 1754.5, radiation safety course requirements, and 1755, electronic infection control course requirements. However, AB 873 is still pending at this time, and it's uncertain whether the bill will be successful. Since the May 14th, 2025 DAC meeting, the Regulations Working Group, Miyazaki and Fowler, have met several times with board staff and council to discuss the difficulties associated with the board's continued review, approval, and audits of dental assisting educational programs and courses. Board staff and council propose adding BP Section 1778, which would require educational providers to be accredited or authorized by recognized accrediting or approving agencies. See list page 50 and 51 of your meeting materials. However, it should be noted that the rigor of oversight by some of these agencies varies widely. For example, CODA evaluates each course for content, evaluations, competencies, faculty to student ratios, faculty qualifications, facilities, including limiting number of students to a treatment room, available equipment, budget, and available materials, amongst other requirements. Other approving agencies do not evaluate individual courses and therefore may not be equitable across the board. These are considerations before us as we keep the prime mission of public safety in mind. Dental Board researched the number of dental assisting programs and courses that have accreditation or approval from entities other than the Dental Board, and that's listed on page 52 of your meeting materials. In addition, the board staff seeks guidance on the necessity for course hour requirements to be included in the proposed legislation and regulations if the Dental Board is no longer providing oversight of dental assisting educational programs and courses. In summary, board staff does not have the resources to review, approve, and audit dental assisting programs and courses anymore. If they were to continue this task, they would have to hire significant personnel, which would significantly increase the cost to educational providers and as a result, the students taking these programs and courses. However, this might be an option. California has one of the most comprehensive dental assisting educational career ladders in the United States, allowing for the full use and benefit of these educated auxiliaries to be utilized by the dentist. Let's discuss how we can achieve our goal of access to care with competent dental assistants in the workforce while we resolve the issues previously presented.
Is there any council member discussion? Oh, thank you. Kara?
Miyazaki, I just want to thank the board staff, Tina and Christy and Council Tara, for having these meetings with Jerry and myself. And I just want to say for myself, it's really difficult to wrap my head completely around all of these concepts. And in reading this material, I know it's really difficult to do that without actually attending these meetings and having them explained over and over again by the staff and Tara. So again, I just think that we really need to look at this very closely and discuss the proposal. That this is a discussion item amongst the Dental Assisting Council. There will be stakeholder meetings that Jerry and I will attend and be able to actually actively participate in. The DAC members will be invited to them, but they cannot, because I think it's the Brown Act, they cannot actually actively participate. They can only listen to the comments by the stakeholders. So this is the time and day to talk about it amongst ourselves, because it's going to be something that's going to be brought up in the near future at our meetings.
Thank you. Are there any further council member discussions?
Miyazaki, sorry. So I think I just want to summarize, because I know in reading through all this, I'm maybe making an assumption, but there's a lot of information to read. And with all the legislative things that are happening now, myself, I find it confusing. So I think this is what I have in my head as a summary. Just to summarize again, that the Dental Board would like to stop from evaluating dental assisting programs, courses, and doing the audits, but also keeping in mind that we have to have the main mission of public safety. So one of the things that's being passed around or being in this document is that we pass the oversight to an outside accrediting body or an agency. Second concept is that we increase the pathway to licensure by in other directions, for example, dental assisting national board examinations, and we'll have a presentation by them following this. And then if the dental board is not in the process of approving, auditing, or reevaluating program courses, is there a need for hours and course content for these courses in part of the regulations? And lastly, that I think that the STEM might be an option on the dental board staff, and Tara may be able to contribute to this too as well, but to remain status quo, and we increase the rates for the course evaluations, audits, and reevaluations to compensate for the time that's taken for this. Again, there's pros and cons to all of this, and I can say that some of this I'm uncomfortable with, and some of this I'm semi okay with. I don't understand all the ins and outs, and I think the stakeholder meetings that we'll be having will be very helpful, and we want to represent the stakeholders too as well. It's not going to be our Jerry and my public opinions. I think the stakeholder information will be very valuable.
Thank you. Are there any further council member discussions? No? Okay. Are there any in-person public comments?
Good morning, Melody Randolph here representing the Dental Assisting Alliance. The Alliance is made out of 3 different organizations, the California Association of Dental Assisting Teachers, the Extended Functions Association, and the California Dental Assistants Association. So the Alliance is deeply concerned by this proposal as we identify numerous significant issues that it presents. We're particularly surprised that the only con acknowledged by the board on page 53 of the meeting materials is that providers who are not accredited or approved by one of the listed entities would need to apply for and receive approval. This alone could pose a significant or substantial barrier to dental assisting education and training. However, there are many other critical concerns not addressed, including elimination of any mandatory hands-on training, inconsistencies among the proposed accrediting and approval agencies, as already pointed out. Many of the agencies that are, in fact, most of the agencies that are listed there as options have nothing to do with dentistry. They have no dental specific curriculum requirements, educational requirements, all of the things as mentioned before. So that would lead to varied and potentially inadequate programs and courses. And again, just to name a few. So these issues are likely to result
30
in
seconds.
continued and escalating staff shortages, closure of dental assisting programs, reduced protections for patients. Ultimately, we strongly believe this proposal would have a detrimental effect on the vast majority of dental practices across California. Fragmentation in the education and training of dental assistants, the largest segment of the dental workforce, would increase, compromising both workforce readiness and public safety. And we do agree that, or believe that the answer to this is increasing fees so that the board can do what they're already mandated to do. Thank you very much.
Is it on? Yes. Good morning, Tukazo Kai, representing the California Dental Association. CDA also has some concerns primarily rooted in ensuring that the dental assisting education and certification process remains accessible and affordable, especially with severe workforce shortages. So as we want to maintain patient safety and the process, we are concerned about some of the proposals and how they can create new barriers. We already know that many infection control courses hold accreditations recognized under the proposal and are embedded within full RDA educational programs. So this would make them inaccessible as standalone options for unlicensed dental assistants due to cost, time, commitment, and admission requirements. So CDA encourages the board to recognize dental board permitted continuing education providers alongside CERP and PACE accredited entities to maintain affordable local training options as you look at the proposal. We also recommend that if the board considers SERP and PACE oversight acceptable, to urge the Dental Assisting Council to evaluate how board-permitted course providers could also be similarly recognized. We recommend a couple acceptance of external accreditation with retention of existing statutory curriculum requirements for certified dental assisting courses. But in light of recent fee increases, we also urge the board to assess the financial and operational impacts of shifting oversight, especially as was stated before, we don't want to see a closure of programs as a result of the
30
different pathways.
seconds.
So we understand that the workload will significantly decrease since many programs are already externally accredited, but again, I just want to thank Board Member Fowler and Board Member Miyazaki for putting all of this work together and looking at all the different options. So these are just some recommendations to continue investigating to maintain the appropriate pathways to accessible education.
Good morning, Sherry Becker. I am a currently working chairside dental assistant and also currently serving as president of the California Association of Dental Assisting Teachers. And so as a stakeholder, we really look forward to the work group meetings to give input and insight. There is so much contained in this legislative proposal. As previously stated, it is hard to digest. I do agree with the Alliance comments from Melody Randolph as well. And it is hard to predict the short and the long-term results of this proposal and what the impact will be in the for the overall profession. It's hard. The recommendation too for possibly eliminating hours on some required courses, I would suggest that there be a minimum hour requirement as opposed to a strictly defined hour requirement, but a minimum hour requirement on those required courses. So thank you, and more to come, I'm sure, at the work group meetings. Thank you.
Hi, Tina Valerie, Chief of Dental Assisting and License and Program Compliance Unit. I did just want to add a couple comments that this legislative proposal is just a first draft. This is intended to spark conversation with the dental assisting community. And so the stakeholder meetings, I've tried very hard to get the word out that we are encouraging participation from all aspects of dentistry, dental hygienists, dentists, dental assisting, because we understand this is definitely a new way of doing business. But I want to reiterate that board staff do not have the education to approve dental assisting courses anymore. I don't know that we ever did. And so really we need to shift this to people who do this as their expert. They have the expertise in this area. So we by no means are saying this is the final draft. We definitely are open for ideas, and I'm really encouraged and hopeful that at these stakeholder meetings, we will have participation and ideas that come forward. I have heard for years that we need to change dental assisting and start over. And for me, that's how I'm looking at this, is the opportunity to bring dental assisting into this century and get it operating the way that we can to help address the workforce shortages and the access to care issues. So I'm just very much trying to encourage everybody to come to the stakeholder groups with ideas and proposals because we're open to hear them.
Is there any further public comment? Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Certainly. This is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment on the issue, you may look for the hand icon, typically at the bottom of your WebEx screen, or if you're on a mobile device, it could be behind the three-dot other options. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Each speaker will have 2 minutes with a 30-second warning. Are there any comments? I do see a raised hand. I'm going to send you an unmute request to Joanne Greenfield, and then you'll have 2 minutes.
Hi, this is John Greenfield representing the California Extended Function Association. I'm assuming you can hear me. Somebody raise their hand if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks. I just want to say thank you to Tina and her previous comment. We totally agree with everything that's been said by Ms. Randolph and Ms. Becker. We look forward to, as soon as possible, these stakeholder meetings so that we can start looking at other options. I agree totally that going to many of these other outside agencies is not an option. And for a variety of reasons, having been an educator for 38 years at Sac City College, gone through many accreditations with several different agencies, I can tell you that those are not really good options at all. So hopefully we can get rolling with these stakeholder meetings as soon as possible. And thank you again for that offer, Tina.
Thank you. And I do see a raised hand from Ariane Terlet. I'm going to send you a request to unmute.
Thank you. This is Ariane Trelay. I'm a previous dental board member and also the dental director for a federally qualified health center, as well as my own private practice. I want to thank you for all this work. This is a tremendous amount of work. I am wanting that the stakeholder meetings, and I will try to participate, that you really seriously consider the unintended consequences of these decisions and how to make corrections so that that doesn't happen. Because the on-the-job training pathways is the majority of ways of the health centers that we are getting our staff to begin with. Tina Valerie, your comment about whether the board was ever had the skill set to do the exams, they did. And I will briefly share with you, before, when California had its own an exam unit, dental assisting was in there and it was very robust. When the exam went to REB, everybody forgot about dental assisting. And so I think that these are the end results of not supporting the internal dental exam process. That being said, I think changes need to be made. Needs to be streamlined. The regulatory process changes all the time. So I support changes, but they have to work for everybody. So thank you very much for listening to my comments.
And this is the moderator. I do not see any further raised hands. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Karen Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, is it possible for us to continue this conversation through the council? Because I think there's some things that we should probably discuss before we have our stakeholder meeting, such as course content. Would the council members be comfortable with having, for example, a candidate take a dental assisting national board exam, no hands-on training for radiation safety, infection control, chromal polishing, fluoride, and being able to be certified in that? I think that's one of the proposals that's in here. And it would be helpful to hear from the council members now, because you're not able to actively say anything during the stakeholder meetings.
Sherry Fowler.
Fowler. So I have a question regarding when we're going to meet several times with the stakeholders, and then can we bring, at that point, after meeting the stakeholders several times, can we bring it back to DAC to discuss again before moving forward on anything, right?
Christy Bell, Interim Executive Officer. Yes, all the work that we're going to do between now and November is to bring revised proposals and information back to the DAC for additional discussion and comment. So we're going to take as much time as we need to address the concerns and have these discussions so that everyone can make an informed decision.
Board Member Olagi, I would like to thoroughly go through all the stakeholders, go through that discovery, even if we are just flies on a wall, so to speak, and listening and observing. I do think before we have conversation today, unless someone has a very strong opinion, we take that information, we take the time to reflect on it and come into November's council meeting and have the robust conversation as a council. Right now, I think this is all new. Tina, I do love your comment and I support that, you know, as a dental assistant here in California, what if we could reimagine the dental assisting profession? And I know from stakeholders, educators, students, allied health professionals, that has been asked as I sit on the board and the council. What if you can reimagine it? So I do want us to all think about that as we sit with the stakeholders and then as we come in, what if we can reimagine this profession within the allied health professionals? Thank you.
I agree with Olagi. I think that this is something that we really have to kind of brainstorm and put our minds collectively and collaborate on our decisions of what we kind of discuss and bring back to those stakeholders. Dental assisting does need to be revamped, and there's are some strong concerns, sounds like from the public and sounds like from our council here, that this is something that we definitely need to address.
Miyazaki. So I totally understand what everyone is saying, and I do agree with that stakeholders, it's important for them to be able to participate and to hear their comments and their concerns. It's really strange. I've been kind of thinking about this again, like I've been saying, I've been trying to wrap my head around all of this, and it's difficult because there's so many concepts that are being here. And I think I sort of in the last couple of weeks, we're thinking about the evaluation process too as well. And one of the things that was coming up in a discussion in the workforce meeting was that all these, like the staff are reevaluating, auditing, say example, Pitt and Fisher Sealant courses. And a lot of the courses were not following the criteria and were being either shut down or they withdrew their applications. And, but one of the things that was in the conversation, which is really valuable from the dental board staff and from the conversations within ourselves, is that these people that are taking these courses that have been taking these courses at programs that just got shut down, they've been able to get their RDA license. So they're doing something, so they're operating okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, is it okay to just sort of give that responsibility to some other agency? Or maybe the way that they're being evaluated is not sort of the right way, not to anyone's fault or oversight. It's just that we're not thinking outside the box about how those programs were being evaluated in the first place. And again, not to anyone's fault. It's just that the way that we're thinking about how they're getting evaluated. So maybe the way that we were evaluating them wasn't the right way, and they were actually doing everything that they needed to do for their for their applicants to pass the RDA. And maybe we should change the process too. I think that's something that we have to think about and consider too as well. There's so many concepts going on. It's hard to, again, for me to wrap my head around it. And so again, the stakeholder meetings will be very helpful.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we will now move on to our next agenda item, number 8A, presentation on dental assisting examinations, dental assisting national board. I will ask representatives from DANB, or DANB, to present on this item agenda.
Hi, I just want to make sure everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we have slides that your staff is going to be presenting. Okay, great. There they are. All right. So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for asking us to attend your meeting and provide some information today. We're going to be providing an overview of selected DANB exams that the dental board staff asked us to present on. My name is Catherine Landsberg. I am the Director of Government Relations with the Dental Assisting National Board. I've been doing that job since about 2012, and I've been with Danby I just celebrated my 20-year anniversary. So I've been following the dental assisting profession for quite a long time, and everything that you're saying at this meeting about reimagining it is very timely. But we don't have time to talk about that because we have to talk about these exams. So next slide, please. Oh, before I move forward, I also want to introduce my colleague, Dr. Jana Georgieva. Jana is our senior psychometrician and director of assessments, and I just want to give her a chance to say a few words about herself.
Good morning. Hi, Jana Georgieva, and as Catherine said, my job title already, and I have 19 years of experience with developing dental assisting exams. And I've been serving as a psychometrician for 25 years. I love my job and I love working in the dental field. And so the development of the exams is a very detailed process, and we take it very seriously at Danby. And Catherine is going to go through that part of that process and talk to you about the work that we do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jana. So today what we're going to talk about is, we'll say a few words about Danby. We'll talk about Danby certification. Then we'll go through an overview of the selected exams. We'll talk about the examination process, accreditation and best practices, and other services that Danby can provide, and questions. So next slide, please. So the Dental Assisting National Board, or Danby, is recognized by the American Dental Association as the National Certification Board for Dental Assistants. Danby's Certified Dental Assistant certification was first conferred in 1948. So that CDA certification has been in existence for more than 75 years. Danby exams are recognized or required to qualify to perform specified dental assisting functions in 39 states, the District of Columbia, the U.S. Air Force, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. And there are currently more than 33,000 individuals who hold certification from Danby. Next slide, please. Danby currently administers 5 certification programs for dental assistants. So in addition to the Certified Dental Assistant certification, there's also a Certified Orthodontic Assistant, Certified Preventive Functions Dental Assistant, or CPFDA, Certified Restorative Functions Dental Assistant, which is CRFDA, and National Entry-Level Dental Assistant, which we call NELDA. Danby also has collaborated with ADS, which is the Association for Dental Safety, which was formerly known as OSAP, on 2 infection control certifications. One is the CDIPC, Certified in Dental Infection Prevention and Control, and DISIPC, Dental Industry Specialist in Infection Prevention and Control. Next slide, please. So Danby, as I mentioned before, Danby exams or certifications, or Danby certifications or certificates of knowledge-based competence are recognized or required in 39 states and DC. Here's a map. You'll see that California is on this map, and it's in green because it was just recently approved. There was a bill that recognized Danby CDA certification as one of the ways a person could qualify, meet the prerequisites to become an RDA, take the RDA exam and become an RDA, along with other prerequisites. So next slide, please. So now we'll get into the exam information. We're going to be talking today about the Danby's Radiation Health and Safety Exam, or RHS for short, the Infection Control Exam, which we like to call ICE, Corona Polishing Exam, which is CP, and Sealants, which is SE. Next slide, please. So I'll start right away with the exam content. I see that it's cut off a little bit, but I will be more careful with my font selection in the future. But essentially, there's 3 primary domains there's 3 domains for the radiation health and safety exam. Purpose and technique is 50% of the exam, radiation characteristics and protection 25%, and infection prevention and control related to radiography is also 25%. Each of these has additional sub details underneath those that show you what the exam content is. So this is an abbreviated outline, but our exam outlines are available online, or I can send them to the board staff to circulate for more detailed information. The next slide, please. Some other details about the RHS exam are there are no eligibility prerequisites. There are 75 multiple choice items. There's 60 minutes for testing time, and the exams are available. The RHS exam is available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. The RHS exam is a component of the CDA certification and the NELDA certification. So all of our certifications consist of several component exams. So in the case of CDA, it's radiation health and safety, infection control, and general chairside assisting. In the case of NELDA, it's radiation health and safety, infection control, and anatomy, morphology, and physiology. If a person passes the RHS exam, they are on their way. They are building their certification. If they want to become certified, that's one of the first steps in the certification process. Then they would take the additional exams. So if this exam was recognized, you would also be providing encouragement for dental assistants to earn certification, which can help them differentiate themselves in the marketplace and be valuable for their careers. Next slide, please. And also, as we mentioned, they would, because the RDA or because the CDA is now recognized as meeting prerequisites for the RDA, they could also be building towards that when they take the RHS exam. This is a map of the states that currently recognize or require the RHS exam or DNB CDA certification for dental assistants to qualify to perform radiography. So in addition to helping dental assistants or providing helping with their efficiency, so they do the RHS exam, they can advance and get additional earn DANBI certification. If they've already earned DANBI certification in another state, or they've passed the RHS exam in another state, they can bring that to California if they move to California and already be ready to meet the requirements in California. Next slide, please. I also wanted to mention, we recently, DANBI and its affiliate foundation, the Dale Foundation, developed this study guide plan for the RHS exam, which you can look at that link that you see there, which helps somebody who hasn't taken a course or someone who has taken a course organize their studying so that they can have a better chance of passing the exam. Because we did do a pilot, and people who followed the study guide plan did pass at a higher rate. But it also just helps people make sure they're studying the right thing. Because one of the things that people feel insecure about is that they don't know what to study. So we've got information to help them with that. Next slide, please. Moving on to the infection control exam, I'm a little bit concerned that maybe some of it is cut off, but I will do my best here. There's 4 domains in infection control also, but these didn't fit on one slide. So the first 2 are prevention of disease transmission, which is 20%, prevention of cross-contamination, which is 34%, and you can see the additional detail under each domain. Next slide, please. Then the 3rd and 4th domains are process, instruments, and devices at 26%, and occupational safety and administration protocols at 20%. And the exam references the 2003 CDC guidelines for infection control in dental healthcare settings, and the CDC summary of infection prevention practices in dental settings, which came out in 2016, I think. So next slide, please. So additional details about the ICE exam are, again, no eligibility prerequisites, also 75 multiple choice items, also 60 minutes of testing time, also available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And the ICE exam is a component of CDA, now the Certified Orthodontic Assistant or COA certification. So once again, if they take ICE, they are building they could be working towards a DAMBY certification. Next slide, please. We also have a study guide for the infection control exam, and also for the general chairside exam, which is the third component of the CDA certification. So you can find out more about those study guides at this website that you see there. Next slide, please. The coronal polishing exam, we'll talk about content. It's also 4 domains. So first one, evaluation, 15%, instruments and materials, 20%, and you can see the subcategories there. Third is, go ahead. Third domain is procedures, 39%. And then the fourth is administration, and that's 26%. And again, we have the full detailed content outlines on our website, which I can forward to the board staff. Next slide, please. Details about the coronal polishing exam are, again, no eligibility prerequisites, 75 multiple choice items, 60 minutes of testing time available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And it's a component of our Certified Preventive Functions Dental Assistant certification. Next slide, please. The fourth exam we were asked to give information about was the sealants exam. It's also 4 domains. First one is evaluation at 20%. Second is armamentarium at 20%. Next slide, please. Third domain is procedures at 45%, and fourth is administration at 15%. Next slide, please. So the details are, again, no eligibility prerequisites. It's 50 multiple choice items, 40 minutes of testing time, and it's available in English. The components, it is a component of the Preventive Functions certification and also the Certified Restorative Functions Dental Assistant certification. So these exams also can help a person work towards a DAMBY certification. So we've got some information about fees. I will point out that we do offer a discount for people who fail the RHS exam, a one-time discounted retest fee in order to help, because that exam is required in a lot of states. And so we want to help support people who need to pass that exam before they begin working to have another chance, another bite at the apple if they don't do well the first time. There are combinations, so the RHS and ICE exam administered together, you can, the candidates can take those together and save money doing that. And then there's also other combinations that you can read about on our website, especially if you're working towards a certification, or if you already know you want to take the full certification exam, those exams are available. Next slide, please. So examination process. First, I've got some information here about how we streamline the experience for exam candidates. So we do allow somebody to send in a paper application or a PDF by email, but we also have an online application process where the whole thing is online. You can upload documents well, the RHS exam doesn't have prerequisites, or none of these exams have prerequisites, but if there's anything that needs to be uploaded, that's available. We have online candidate and certificate accounts, so they can see the progress of their application in their account. They can see their results in their account. They can do other things in there, like order a copy of a certificate and that kind of thing. Next slide, please. The exams are accessible. So the exams are offered year round. So sometimes for some licensure or registration exams or certification exams are only offered on certain dates in the year. But in the case of DAMBY exams, they can be taken at any time during the year. They're offered 365 days a year. They're available at secure computerized testing centers or offered through live online remote proctoring. But I'll just make a note that the live online proctoring is only for the individual component exam. So if somebody does want to take a combination, then they have to take that at the test center. Next slide, please. So here's some more information about this testing centers. Exams are available at 674 testing sites nationwide. That's through Pearson VUE. And that includes 28 public sites and 4 government/military sites in California. So there's a few sites in California that are military sites that only military personnel can go to, but there's 28 sites that are available to anybody. And the towns where they're located are listed here. And the security measures that are taken at this in the testing center are verification of a DMV accepted IDs. The candidate's photo is taken. There's a palm scan. All items are stored in lockers, and they're under continuous visual observation by the proctor. So there's no way to minimize the risk of cheating, and also verify that the person is who they say they are. Next slide, please. The other mode of administration is through live online remote proctoring. Exams are available through live online remote proctoring 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. This does require a computer that meets the technical requirements and an acceptable workspace and a secure, reliable internet connection. And in this mode of administration, the security measures include verification of the DMV accepted ID. They consent to use facial comparison technology for ID verification. There's a visual scan of the exam space, and then continuous visual and audio observation by the proctor, and video and audio recording. Next slide, please. So the process to sit for the exam is apply online or through the mail, or through email, or send a paper app in the mail. Then they get an email notice saying they're authorized to test, and they get a 60-day testing window. So then it's up to the candidate to make an appointment at any point in that 60-day window. And then when they go to make the appointment, they choose the administration type, so they can decide to be in person or remote at that time. Like the online, go to the test center or take the test online, and then they schedule their own appointment, and then they keep the appointment and take the exam. So next slide. Once they take the exam, their official exam results are posted to their online account within 1 to 3 business days after the exam, and the results are also sent by mail. And if they pass, they also receive a certificate that they can display if that is required in California, or if the dental office would just like to have them display it. Or in some states, the dental office has to keep a copy on file, so they receive documents that make that possible. Next slide, please. Candidates who fail receive a letter containing more specific information about their study priority for each of the domains of the exam. So here's an example for the ICE exam of somebody who did not pass, and then they receive information about which of the domains that they need to pay more attention to. In this particular candidate said they had critical, it was critical that they study 3 out of the 4 domains. So next slide, please. So if a person doesn't pass the exam, well, I will just say candidates who pass an exam may not take it again. Candidates who fail an exam, they may reapply as soon as they receive their exam results. And if they are applying online, they will be authorized to test as soon as a payment is made, unless there is something that takes longer to process the exam application. For example, if they request accommodations, or accommodations that they're entitled to under the American with Disabilities Act, or if they answered yes to one of the background information questions on the exam, that will take longer. As soon as they're authorized, but people who don't have those extra steps, which is the majority of people, will have their application authorized as soon as they pay, and then they may schedule an appointment as soon as they're authorized, and the testing window starts on the day of authorization. So then they can usually make their appointment the same day. So next slide, please. best practices. So now we're going to talk a little bit about exam development. DAMBY's CDA and COA certifications are accredited by the National Commission for Certifying Agencies, which is a accrediting agency for professional certification programs. All of our exams follow the same, we follow the same best practices for development of all of our exams. So it starts with a nationwide job task analysis. There are frequent content validation studies. There are passing score studies performed. There's a security analysis or regular security analysis and implementation of processes and procedures that ensure fairness and validity. Next slide, please. To say a little bit more about the job task analysis, this is a survey that assesses how frequently the tasks are performed and how critical competent performance is to doing the task correctly. The results are used to develop an exam outline, which shows what knowledge is required to perform those tasks competently. The survey data are used to weight the exam by domain, and then the content validation studies are performed every 5 to 7 years. So the process is sort of repeated again with surveys to make sure that the exam content is still reflecting what is done in actual practice in the dental offices, or more frequently when deemed necessary. So if there are changes in technology that would affect the exam content, that would warrant doing a content validation study sooner, we do that. The exam and so just to go back one bullet, the survey data are used to weight the exam by domain. So those exam outlines that you saw earlier in the presentation are the results of, those are a little less detailed than what we publish on our website, but those are the results of this process. And the exams test knowledge required to correctly and competently perform duties in clinical practice. Next slide, please. Our tests are also adaptive, so that provides a more precise assessment of knowledge, and it also protects the content from overexposure, ensuring that the exams are more secure and more reliable. Next slide, please. So, DAMBY services. So in addition to all of our exam applications and exam development process, I just want to highlight some of the other things that DAMBY offers. We've got a website with that has the requirements for all the states. So that is useful for your group possibly as you're looking at see what other states do and considering how dental assisting, how to adjust the requirements for dental assistants. We also have state publications that have all the state requirements in in 2 volumes. One is like the actual excerpts of statutes and rules for each state that address dental assisting, and one is a book that the same information like in a chart at a glance format. And we also do accept requests for research, so we can, if you have a question about a state, like what are other states doing about X issue, our staff can put something together for you. Next slide, please. We also have online credential verification. So dentists can look up somebody who has submitted a certificate, make sure that certificate is legitimate, or if they write on their resume, I have these certificates from Danby, they can look them up and make sure that's true. And we also have reporting tools for the state staff. So whenever we're working with a state or a state recognizes our exams, we can assign permissions to any of their staff members that they designate to access reports and get lists of people who have passed specific exams or have earned certifications. And we also can create custom reports as requested. Next slide, please. That's it. So if there are any questions, I will be happy to answer them, or my colleague John as well may chime in with things that are in her area of expertise.
Are there any council member discussions?
Gerlach?
Karen?
Hello, sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah. This is Dr. Ledeen. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple questions. Let's see, what is the pass rate for the certified CDA exam?
Well, the CDA is made up of 3 components. So I can't tell you the pass rate for the CDA exam because like if someone takes one of the components, we don't know if their intention is to earn the CDA or if their intention is just to take that exam because it's required in their state. So I can give you pass rates I have handy pass rates for radiation health and safety and infection control, but not for the general chair side, which I can give you. So let me get those. So the radiation health and safety exam for 2004 and 2005. 2004, the national pass rate was 66%. Through July 31st of 2025, it was 68%. And the percent for the same period of the first 7 months of this year, for the people, 80% of people passed it on the first or second attempt in that time period. For the ICE exam, we've got, I need to go to another screen for a second, but I have it handy. The pass rate for the first 5 months of for 2004 was 73%. For the first 7 months of this year was 75%, and then during that same period, 79% of candidates passed it on the first or second attempt.
Okay, so there's no hands-on exam, correct?
The exams are not hands-on exams. They're written multiple choice tests, but they are based on, the content is developed based on information about what dental assistants are actually performing in their clinical settings.
Okay, and also a question about the prerequisites. I noticed that there's no prerequisites for any of the exams. Is that correct? And I don't know how that would fit into California's requirement for hands-on training versus educational program. So maybe Ms. Valerie could answer that one.
So essentially, the lights on, but.
We can hear you. I think now it's off. We heard you when you said the lights on.
Okay, better?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start over. We wanted, Danby to come and present because we definitely think this is something to talk about as far as accepting Danby examinations as an option for California. It's in our proposal. And so with the thought process that we've added Danby as a pathway to licensure, people who have taken their radiation health and safety exam, their infection control exam, currently we don't recognize those. However, based on the information we've received, we think it's definitely something to start considering. It would increase portability. They offer them in multiple languages, which has been a topic of discussion for a very long time. And so we definitely think that there's a high consideration to make in accepting these exams. So it would be up to the DAC and the board to decide if a written exam is enough for California. But like Catherine mentioned, it definitely is studies done and everything to ensure that they're being tested on the information needed to perform clinically, and multiple states recognize them. So it's just up for consideration for California.
No, I think it's a wonderful consideration, but I did have a question about the prerequisites. Will we still require the educational background training or the hands-on, or would that be eliminated?
Essentially, what we're proposing is that they could do either. They could take a course, which is what we currently require, or they could take the Danby exam. So it would not require, it would be what Danby requires, which right now they have no prerequisites. So if somebody, used their study guide, went from the work experience or preceptorship pathways and wanted to just go take their examinations, we're proposing to accept them if they pass.
Okay, thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Gerlach. Thank you. Ms. Lauren did ask two of the questions I was going to ask, which was the concern for the hands-on component and what the prerequisites are for the DANB. And then my third question was going to be, what is the renewal process for renewing the license of the DANB?
So the certificates that they earn, they're not a license. Each of those 4 exams lead to a certificate of knowledge-based competence, which does not expire. The only expiration that's sort of associated with it is, if they want to use the results of those exams towards a certification, then they have to pass all the exams that are required for that certification within a 5-year period. But with regard to what California would accept, there would be no, those certificates do not have any renewal associated with them.
Okay, so once they receive all 5 certifications, are they a CDA after that?
So if the person, in order to be a certified dental assistant, they have to pass the radiation health and safety exam, the infection control exam, and a third exam that we didn't talk about today, which is the general chairside exam. And that general chairside exam does have eligibility prerequisites associated with it. So the 4 exams we talked about today are not all like part of one certification. Those are individual components that 2 of them are part of the CDA, one of which is RHS and ICE, radiation health and safety and infection control. One of them is coronal polishing, is part of the preventive functions certification, CPFDA, and then the sealants exam is part of the restorative function, certified restorative functions dental assistant and certified preventive functions dental assistant. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. So if you have a follow-up question, please go ahead.
I guess my question is, if the DANB does get adopted here, if assistants would be now certified dental assistants instead of RDAs?
I can
No,
answer.
go ahead, Tina.
Thank you. So essentially what we're proposing, and what is in current law, I'll start with that, is anybody who currently holds a CDA from DNB can apply for licensure as an RDA here. So they still have to meet our requirements. So they would use their CDA certification as their pathway, but they would then have to show us proof of graduating from a course in California for coronal polish, radiation safety, infection control, and Pitt and Fisher sealants, even though they've already taken the radiation health and safety exam and IC exam from DNB. We don't recognize those currently. So they have to then pay to take another course in California, and then we would accept those. What we're proposing is to accept these component exams, essentially. So if they've already taken them with DNB, we would accept those as documentation of passing the requirements to get licensed as an RDA.
Okay, so we're talking about reciprocity.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Landsberg, this is Tara Welch, Board Counsel. Do you have any data on how the exam candidates prepare for the exams? I'm wondering if a large percentage of your candidates utilize hands-on training to prepare for the exams, or do you have information as to, are they just learning through reading? How do these candidates prepare? Do you have any information on that?
I will say a few things about that, and then I will ask my colleague, Jonna, to see if she can add anything to it. Because the radiation health and safety, because none of those exams have prerequisites, we don't ask them that on the exam application. In states where, in some states, the RHS exam specifically also has a the radiography requirements in that state require a course and an exam. So we can kind of assume they took that course and then took the exam, and that helps us kind of understand in those states what the preparation was. But I will ask Jana if she could add to, if we may have data that she could speak to more knowledgeably than I can about what we know about the preparation.
Sure. So I apologize that I don't have very good lighting. I'm in a different place today. I do have some data on this. I think Catherine mentioned that it's not required. It hasn't been required that they provide what education they may have taken in advance of taking the RHS exam. But we do have data on, if they applied for the CDA certification, then we do know if they attended a CODA program, and they may have also provided if they attended a non-CODA dental assisting program. So I do have some data on that. I can't put my hands on it right now, but I will share that with Catherine, and she can get that to you.
I don't, Smith here. I don't know if anyone is as confused as I am listening to all this, because it sounds to me like they would have to double do all of these courses to get their RDA. If they went through what Danby needed them to do to get their CDA, California is still saying that they have to take infection control, radiation safety, coronal polish, and sealants prior to getting their RDA. So it all sounds like a big double do system to me.
I think that's a question for Tina.
Hi, sorry. So currently, you're correct. We proposed and got in our sunset bill to accept the CDA pathway. And anybody who has the CDA has already taken Danby's radiation health and safety exam and the infection control exam. So you're correct. They do currently have to then come to California and take additional exams or courses, I'm sorry. And so what we're trying to propose is to eliminate that, where they would not have to retake a course in California, and we would recognize Danby's examinations for anybody coming who's already taken them. But we're also hoping that this proposal would do is to open options and accessibility to people who are in rural areas who we've heard back from that can't get to these courses because they're far away from their locations, that if they prep and however they choose to prep, whether it's with hands-on training in their dental offices or studying or whatever, mode of prep that they take, and they want to take the Danby exams, which are offered 365 days a year, that's an option here in California now. And so it would increase the access to the examinations. It would eliminate the need for them to travel to areas for the courses. And so it's just expanding what California would accept. So they'd have options. So that's what the proposal is.
Olagi.
I just want to add some comments. That's on. Councilmember Olagi. So as a PDS Health dental assistant, I have the opportunity to now not only work with dental assistants in California, but 24 other states. And I think having that perspective gives me a different insight into how the Danby exams can be leveraged here in California. So yes, absolutely. Right now it's double dipping or taking 2 exams, but for the future of dental assisting here, it would now be able to, the standalone courses, from what I'm understanding, we would now recognize Danby as the exam, and that would help with access to care. So now a on-the-job training dental assistant can go ahead and pursue the in-person, possibly standalone course that you can drive to Temecula, drive in person, or San Francisco, or they can prepare for the Danby exam and we would recognize it. So the access to care does increase, because I have seen that too in the rural areas, that in even other states, that this helps. So I just want to give that perspective, because that's how I'm understanding it, and then how we have leveraged it as I partner with dental assistants in 24 other states and worked with Danby on that.
So just for clarification, these are accredited courses that you're speaking of, correct? And are they, and can you explain the pathways for these courses? Are they online? Are they in person? What type of education are they getting with these courses? So we need to know, are they accredited? Are they valid? Are they vetted? Are they, mail-in courses? So can you clarify what type of courses that they are?
Okay, so Danby does not offer courses. There are exam preparation courses offered through the Dale Foundation,
mark.
Danby's affiliate, but what we're talking about here are passing an exam, a standardized test that would kind of validate your knowledge. And so it would give people the option of taking whatever course is available to them, or choosing their own preparation method, but being able to demonstrate that they have the same knowledge as someone who did take an accredited course or whatever knowledge the state of California wants them to have. So.
And how are those courses being validated for them to take this exam?
So if they get a passing score on the exam, then their knowledge is validated. Then they demonstrate that they have the minimum required knowledge to perform those functions that are tested on the exam.
And maybe I can try to clarify, but Danby and our proposal with Danby exams is to accept their examinations. There is no course requirement in relation to the Danby examinations. What I think maybe added some confusion was there are other states that have course requirements to take the tests, but they do not. Danby does not. And so California, if we accept the Danby exams, there would not be a requirement to take a course prior to the exam. They would have to prepare and study, like Ms. Lamberg mentioned with the study guide. They either could take a course if they choose to. They could use their training with their dentist as their preparation, whatever they choose. We would not have a standard for how they take the examination. But we also, in the meantime, still have our approved courses. And so our courses obviously are approved by us. So hopefully that helps clarify.
Chair Welch?
Just to clarify, the proposal would move board approval to other accrediting agencies. So we would no longer be approving the courses. Some other entity would. So say you've got a CODA accredited program and they're offering the courses. If an individual took a specific course, they could use that course, a successful completion of that, to apply for the RDA license or whatever permit they're seeking or additional duty. We're not saying take a course, then take the exam. We're saying take a course or take the exam.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted the clarification. Thank you. Did you have something? Fowler?
Okay, so if a dental assistant in California took the corona polishing and sealant, and this might be for Tina, I'm not sure, but they cannot actually perform those duties until they pass their RDA, am I correct?
So coronal polish is an allowable duty for unlicensed dental assistants. So if they took the Danby examination, if this proposal went through and we recognize Danby examinations, they could do coronal polishing upon passing that examination. But Pitt and Fisher sealants, they would not be able to perform in California without having an RDA license.
Okay. And then my next question, so in the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned 33,000 Danby certifications. Is that just like for the CDA, the COA, or does that also include the individual, like the radiation safety, the infection control, those standalone?
That's a great question. Those are just people who hold certifications. So the certifications do have to be renewed every year. That's just the current number of people who have earned those certifications and maintain them. It doesn't count people who earned them at some point in the past and no longer maintain them. And that does not include numbers of people who have just taken radiography, like just taken RHS or just taken ICE or both of those. If you wanted the volume of those on the average, like the average number per year, we could get those for you.
Let me interrupt for a second. The participants on WebEx, can you lower the audio just a little bit? It's pretty loud in here and I cannot do anything about it. Thank you.
Kara Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, thank you for your presentation. I was looking at the state map and looking at the requirements for radiography, and it seems like they're kind of all over the board. Some states require that the candidate takes a course offered by various entities and then take the RHX exam, and some states just let people take exams under the purview of their dentist. Is that you have a majority of courses where one versus the other is amongst the states? Do you have to know that statistic? Where a course is required before the exam?
For the exam, I also don't have that handy. But I can also put that together for you. I would say, yeah, I don't want to speculate about that right now, but I think there are states where as you said, there are states where they have and I think I also said, so I think your question is how many state, like what's more common for the states to have a course requirement plus an exam where both things are required, or just the exam, or an either or. Some states have an either or. So like either take a course or an exam. Some states have, as long as you pass the exam, we don't care how you prepared for it. And so the exam is required, but that's the only thing they check. And then some states have, you have to take a course and pass an exam. So I can put that information together and get that for you.
Thank you. And I just want to sort of have a thought to think about is that we do require right now for candidates to take infection control before coronal polishing and sealants. But if we go by this pathway, would kind of like unfortunately, you want people to go the right and ethical way, whichever way they thought was the best way. But is it possible for some, I'm just thinking of this, I mean, no one has to answer it, but is it possible for someone to become a dental assistant, hired for an office, study for like the coronal polishing exam, which has there's, I think it's only 25 questions. And then the review course is like $39, and actually start polishing before they have like any sort of infection control training. I mean, is that something that we need to think about before we consider a proposal like this? I mean, that's just the worst case scenario, but I think we have to think about all the ranges that we have.
Gerlach, I do agree with Miyazaki's comment.
Tara Walsh.
One of the arguments in favor of changing the infection control requirements last year is that the dental assistants are supervised by the dentist. So if there's any concern as to the competency of the dental professional providing the services, the dentist is responsible for that. So they could, ask for an example of, how they're going to approach the patient. But in any event, we keep hearing that it's very difficult to get access to courses and, get licensure. So we're trying to find appropriate ways to increase those numbers so there's more dental staff, and then that staff is they're working under the supervising dentist. So ultimately the dentist needs to ensure that the individual is safe to practice on patients.
Gerlach.
I have one more question. So if I were a brand new DA, would I be able to take the DAMB exam tomorrow and get my X-ray certification, or is there experience required prior to taking that?
So DAMB does not have any eligibility prerequisites to take the radiography exam. So they would be able to study and take the test whenever they felt ready.
Thank you.
And I just want to expand on that really quick too, that currently unlicensed dental assistants can do radiation safety. There's no requirement for them to have a certain number of months in practice before they can take the course. So there's that piece. And I also just want to stress that I hear a lot of comments about the clinical component. And I just want to point out that the majority of our courses, though I think that the intention of the law was for them to have clinical practice experience in the educational setting, the majority of the students taking those courses are sent back to their dental offices and being supervised by their dentist. And so I'm just urging everybody to look at this with open eyes and understand that while we're saying that the DMB exam is an option for California, or we would like it to be an option for California, like Tara mentioned, they still would be supervised by a dentist, which is ultimately what the course does anyways. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
Dr. Loren?
Another question, thank you. I just want to make it clear, is this DAMB certification going to replace, the exam going to replace the RDA eventually? Is that the intention, or are we still going to have the RDA and the DAMB option?
So the DMB, the proposal we're making is just to recognize those 4 examinations that she presented today. And everyone would still be required to apply for the RDA license and pass our examination. So we are not proposing to replace our examination for licensure or any of the permits.
Kara Miyazaki?
I have one more question for Ms. Landsberg, and if we do go forward with the testing, when they do the online testing, my understanding, it sounds like they could do that at home. Is that correct?
They can do it at home. There are some requirements around like the space. So if they don't have an acceptable space, then they might have to go like do it in their dental office in a room that is more conducive to that, or another place where they might be able to do it. But if you have a space at home that meets the requirements and your internet connection is good enough, then you can do it at home.
Right. And so we've had online proctoring at our college, and one of the concerns that our students had were ones that, their only option was to do their tests at home, and they had kids. And what happens, because they have access to the microphone and the camera, right? So what happens if someone like their child comes in with like a blade nose, like does that exam have to be stopped and they have to reapply, or is that considered, is someone online proctoring them like live?
The online proctoring is live, so it's not like recorded and then somebody looks at it later, which is one of the ways that remote proctoring can be done. But I do not know the answer to the question of if there's like a disruption in the test that's like unforeseen, such as a child coming in with a medical emergency. Jonna, do you know the answer to that, or is that something we can follow up later about?
Sure. So the process is that their exam would be stopped. DAMB does provide another opportunity because it could have been something beyond the candidate's control. And so they get another opportunity at a reduced fee to reapply and take that exam. We keep note of it, of course, and if they have a second incident, then it's a little suspicious and they may not be allowed to test for a period of time. But each case is unique, and so we treat them as such.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Is there any public comments? In-person public comment?
Thank you. Excuse me, Sherry Becker. Thank you, Ms. Lansbury, for the presentation. I've been an RDA and a CDA now for 41 years, so appreciate it. Just a couple of questions or comments, wondering how other states maybe are compensating for the lack of hands-on training with your exams. And then from the perspective, I guess, of patient and public safety and protection, I would wonder how the public would feel about somebody taking, for example, the radiation safety exam only with no hands-on training. And I know it's the belief that, or it is true that the dentists are responsible for their staff. However, to say that the dentists are directly supervising their staff, I think is a little bit confusing and maybe not as true as maybe some people would consider. So I would wonder how the public would feel about knowing that somebody just took a written exam and now is ready to start taking x-rays, for example, on a patient without any hands-on formal training. And then to my other comment about maybe how other states perhaps are compensating for the lack of the hands-on and if they are requiring something in that direction. Thank you.
So I can put together information about that. I'm not
Thank you
sure.
for
Am
the
I supposed to
comment.
respond to that?
Catherine.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Okasich with the Department of Consumer Affairs Office of Professional Examination Services. And just as you're going through this discussion, I just wanted to bring up Section 139. If you were considering this potentially as an eventual pathway toward the RDA license, our office would need to be involved in assessing these examinations. Since we're not to that point of talking, whether or not Section 139 is in play here, we get a little bit nervous anytime we're talking about formal assessments and ensuring validity. So I just wanted to remind you that that requirement is there and let you know we are here to help you in this process as you're beginning these conversations and starting to talk about whether or not to accept these examinations. Our office is here to help with those evaluations and discussions.
Thank you. Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. This is the moderator. If people would like to make a comment, and we already have 2 hands up, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And if you're on a mobile device, the hand might be behind the 3-dot other options, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Each speaker will have 2 minutes with a 30-second warning. And I'll try and go in order of hand raises. First is Lori Gagliardi. I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic. And Lori, you should have gotten a pop-up on your screen, and you can just click unmute me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Dr. Laura Gallardi. I'm an RDA retired educator, and I just wanted to bring back a little history that way back in the 70s when some of us were working, we had to take a state exam that was issued by the state prior to being able to even expose x-rays. Then we could learn how to take x-rays. So I thank Catherine and her group for presenting the information. I'd like to encourage stakeholders to really look closely at the availability of all the DNB exams for minimal competency to employment as a DA or RDA. When we look at public protection, there's a wide opinion on the minimal requirements for education, experience, combined pathways that would be needed to ensure minimal competency has been met And the ownership then falls on the dental board to ensure course providers meet certain requirements for compliance, which based on the data presented today, we can see that that's not always the case. However, these exams are specific to dental assisting tasks. They are vetted through the numerous processes, updated, and widely accepted. So the exam pathways put the individual responsible for preparing by education, experience, etc., to successfully pass the exam. So I can tell you as a former educator and familiar with these exams, there is a huge amount of critical thinking that's part of especially the radiation safety exams. So
30
I believe
seconds.
it's very difficult to try to pass that exam without some sort of clinical skill to be able to know how to correct faulty radiographs, etc. So again, I want to remind you, this is an entry-level profession. Some of these employees are making minimal wage, and we're finding there's a lot of barriers to making them successful to get in the field with all these educational requirements. So I hope you consider Danby exams
Time's up.
as a visible pathway. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next request for comment is from Ariane Terle. I'm going to send you a request to unmute.
Thank you. Again, Ariane Turley, Chief Dental Officer for Federally Qualified Health Center La Clínica de la Raza. I would echo Lori's comments, and I think in listening to the conversation, and I appreciate the person from DCA, I don't remember your name. This is for exam purposes. This is not for course certification. So really, it's no different than what we've done with Western Regional Boards for dental licensing, or now currently ADEX is being accepted as the test that everybody has to take. The courses that get to that point are not part of this. The testing agency tests these skill sets. So from the perspective of applicants and chief complaints of we can't get an exam or the exams are far away, this takes that away from the board. You don't have to worry about when you're going to set up your next exam. It's already there, and it's almost on demand. The other issue is, we have many people that move to California because they're transferred because of spouses that choose not to go into the dental assisting profession because they've been practicing 10 years and they have to jump through so many hoops, retaking all of these courses that they are clinically proficient at. So I highly encourage using the Danby exams as pathways for people who already know how to do these things and have been practicing, and not make them retake and spend thousands of dollars for what they already know. So thank you.
Thank you. And I do not see any further raised hands. I will turn the floor back to you, Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 9, update on registered dental assisting general written law and ethics examination. I'm going to ask Ms. Bell to present this agenda item.
Thank you. Christy Bell, Interim Executive Officer. I'm providing an update on the Registered Dental Assistant General Written Law and Ethics Examination. In early 2023, the Dental Board reestablished the Access to Care Committee. The Dental Assisting Council presented at the June 5th, 2024 meeting a memorandum from the Department of Consumer Affairs, Office of Professional Examination Services on the RDA General and Law and Ethics Written Exam pass rates. At this meeting, OPES recommended the following. In 2023, OPES worked with the board to conduct an occupational analysis of the RDA profession. The results of the OA were used to update the examination content outline for the RDA written examination. These updates would be reflected in the examination beginning May 2024. OPES was coordinating with the test administration vendor to ensure candidates were provided with the updated examination outline when they registered to take the examination. OPES recommended that the board also announce the updated examination outline on its website and in any related publications. The second recommendation is that the board initiated a regulatory change to transition from a set minimum passing score for the RDA written examination to a criterion reference passing score. Once this regulation was enacted, OPES recommended that the board reduce the number of items on the examination from 125 scorable items to 100 items. Fewer items would help reduce barriers to licensure while maintaining the reliability of the examination. The recommended rulemaking package was approved by the board as its November 2023 meeting and went into effect on November 20th, 2024. And as a further update to complete the recommendations, beginning November 1st, 2025, the RDA written examination will be reduced from 125 items to 100 scorable items. OPES recommends that the candidates continue to be given 3 hours to complete the examination. This item is informational only. However, we do have OPES on hand if there are any questions.
Thank you. Is there any council member discussion? Any in-person public comment?
Good morning. Karen Okasich with the Office of Professional Examination Services. I just wanted to make one clarification. It's 100 scorable items. There will still also be 25 pre-test items. This will be in the candidate bulletin, so every candidate moving forward will have that information, but the number of scorable items has been reduced to 100.
Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. This is the moderator. If anyone has any comments on the item, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments on the exam? I do not see any hand raises. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 10, update, discussion, and possible recommendation to the board on pending legislation. I'm going to ask Brant Nelson, Legislative and Regulatory Specialist, to present this agenda item.
Good morning. My name is Brant Nelson. I'm the board's legislative and regulatory specialist. Agenda item 10 begins on page 114 of your council materials. So I'm just giving an update here on AB 873, whose author is Alanis. And at the May meeting, you may recall that the board voted to take a support if amended position to include the board's additional legislative proposals to resolve SB 1453 issues. On May 23rd, the board sent a support if amended position letter to Assemblymember Alanis. On July 9th, 2025, the bill was amended, but many of the requested amendments approved at the November 2024 and 2025 meetings were not included in the July 9th, 2025 version of the bill. My detailed summary provided in the materials dives into the specifics. However, on July 14th, 2025, the author canceled the hearing of this bill, making it a 2-year bill. And so where it stands now is we don't know what's going to happen with the bill. It could come back and be about the endangered California condor or something else entirely. We just don't know. But we're going to keep watching it. And until the IT and RDM radiation safety and electronic infection control course and related fee statutes are amended to resolve the previously identified implementation issues, these courses cannot be approved by the board for course providers to offer students. So board staff will continue working to advance the board's requested amendments to resolve the implementation issues. And that concludes my presentation for this agenda item. Thank you.
Is there any council member discussion? Karen Miyazaki?
I noticed in the documents it says the author pulled the bill from the hearing. Do they give a reason why they pulled the bill, or do we know the reasons why the bill was pulled?
I do not know the reasons why it's pulled. Sometimes that information can be garnered from conversations, internally with the committee staff and things like that. But as of now, I don't have that information.
Are there any in-person public comments?
Hello, Tuka Zokai from the California Dental Association, also one of the bill sponsors. Just as a note, Senate BNP did indicate that course fees largely need to have their own bill, and we just urge the committee to support a board position to have an infection control, to write a letter to Senate BNP and make a case that the infection control course fees should be included in AB 873 for proper implementation, while Senate BNP does recommend having course fees separate from this cleanup bill for the infection control course completion. We do think that there is a good case for that, at least that course fee to still be in this bill, but they do recommend that other course fees be its own bill. So we just wanted to make comments on that. CDA is still in communication with the committee. We're open to amendments. Probably not going to be about the endangered California condor. So we're going to continue to look at infection control course completion. The last language that was on the July 6th or July 9th version was 60 days for a course completion, but CDA is open to discussions on the course completion date, especially as we continue to urge the board to continue to prioritize the development of an online course. That's going to be a key piece with the course completion piece. In the meantime, we appreciate assurance that the enforcement of this requirement does not change until the course is available online. Thank you.
Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Certainly, thank you. This is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hands. Are there any comments on this discussion item? I do not see any requests for comment. I'll turn the meeting back to you, Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 11A, status update on pending regulations. Again, I'm going to ask Mr. Nelson to present this agenda item.
Thank you. Agenda item 11A appears on page 117 of your council materials. I'm just going to provide a quick update on the rulemaking to amend California Code of Regulations, Title 16, Section 1005 regarding minimum standards for infection control. The proposed text was approved by the Dental Board at its May 14th through 15th meeting. Board staff submitted the proposed text to the Dental Hygiene Board of California for review and consensus. At its meeting on July 19th, 2025, the Dental Hygiene Board of California approved the Dental Board's text and thereby reached consensus with the board. Board staff will now take the necessary steps to begin the rulemaking process. And as I don't need to probably inform Council members Alagi and Miyazaki, this is a very voluminous, complex, and interesting regulation that will require extensive work to develop. So it's a long-term thing. I just want to mention that as we proceed, it's a very likely that you know, we're going to have to take time and very carefully go through it. So it's not a quick process, but we will continue to advance it. And that concludes my agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any council member discussion? Are there any in-person public comments? Are there any public comments from individuals participating via WebEx? DCA moderator, please facilitate the lines for public comment.
Thank you. We do have one lined up. If anyone would like to make a comment on the item, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. Each speaker will have 2 minutes with a 30-second warning. And our first commenter is Leslie Canham. I'm going to send you a request to unmute and you'll have 2 minutes. And Leslie, you should get a pop-up on your screen that you can click unmute me. All right, Leslie, I'm going to go ahead and enable the chat so that you can type your comment if you choose to. If you could use the chat just to say yes so that I know you can use it. And then after that, I'll give you 2 minutes to type. All right, I'm not seeing any yes from Leslie in the chat either. Leslie, I encourage you to utilize the email address for the board as provided. And at this point, I do not see any further raised hands. Shall I close that public comment feature?
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 12. This will be adjournment. This concludes the August 14, 2025 Dental Assisting Council meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.